What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 31. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Harden Khan. And guys, we're coming off of Super Bowl 60. We're going to talk about the reactions and results of it. I'm still recovering from LASIK eye surgery, which is hence why I'm wearing the glasses. And also, it helps me hide the pain. In terms of sports as well, we're going to be talking about our two favorite NBA games. And in terms of wrestling, we're just straight on the road to Elimination Chamber. So we're going to be talking about the chamber matches and all these actually new injuries that are coming up, as well as a lot of mix-up to what's WrestleMania plans, because it looks like there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now. Right. So we're going to talk about all of that. And plus, on our sideline heel takes, we got two good sideline heel takes coming up for you guys. And they're based on current sports and current events that are going on right now. So let's get straight into today's episode. All right, guys, first we're going to talk about is Super Bowl 60. Obviously, it's the biggest sporting event of the year, and we're coming off of recapping the entire NFL season, and it all culminated to Super Bowl 60. And it was the matchup between the Patriots and the Seahawks. And Farhan, I'll let you talk about the game.
Yeah, so the game in its own right, this was a very defensive battle. It started out as a defensive battle from both teams. They both have really good defenses. But the Seahawks, they kind of proved themselves that why they were the best team in the league. Their defense dominated the Patriots all throughout the game. Drake May was under pressure so many times. He fumbled the ball, he threw an interception, and they couldn't really establish that offensive flow that they had previously. And it kind of just showed throughout the whole game. The Patriots had some inexperiences, especially on the offensive line. They let a lot of pressures on the left side. They were starting two rookies, Will Campbell and the guard, I don't know his name.
Yeah, Jared something.
Yes, and
Jared Wilson?
Jared Wilson, yeah. And the Seahawks, they kind of just exposed that aspect of the Patriots' offensive line. And they just pressured Drake May all throughout the game. Like, you just really saw him just not be able to make the plays that he wanted. He was always under duress, and every time he tried to get the ball out, it was incomplete or the players couldn't catch it. And there was a point in time where the Patriots, we thought that they were going to make a comeback. They threw a bomb to Mac Hollins, and they got the ball back a few minutes later, and then that's when Drake May threw the interception. It was an interception. So he had a fumble and two INTs. So this was just a tough game for the Patriots. But the Seahawks side, they didn't really look good on the offensive side. The kudos to the Patriots defense for that. Sam Darnold, he did as much as he can, but this was a big game from Kenneth Walker. And I don't know about you guys, but we always talk about this idea of, or this version of a player when it comes to like basketball. Like we always talk about Hoodie Melo, face mask Kyrie. But in football, we have playoff Kenneth Walker. And each game that he played, he had over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He didn't score this time, but it kind of just showed throughout the whole game that he was running the ball like really good. And I believe he had 170 total yards. And this was just a big game for Kenneth Walker. And this is why he won Super Bowl MVP. In my opinion, it should have been Jason Myers. Because, man, he made 5 field goals, which broke the record for the Super Bowl. But the Seahawks, they dominated this game. They won 29-13. They're Super Bowl champions. Mike McDonald, he's a really good coach for them. I'm surprised the Ravens even let him go. Like, imagine Mike McDonald still on the Ravens right now. You know, obviously coaching matters. Obviously coaching got the Patriots to this position with Mike Vrabel. But the Seahawks, they were just a more dominant team on both sides. Completely, like, two different versions of them in the playoffs versus the regular season. Right. Obviously, they were dominant in the regular season, but in this case, the defense just showed up for the Seahawks. And kudos to the Patriots. They got this far, and they had the defense. They had the runner-up to MVP. But in my opinion, I think this was what we expected on the, I guess, third-party aspect of it. Like when you're being realistic in the sense that the Seahawks, they just had a much better team on paper, and that's why they won the game. And obviously, Sam Darnold, he's finally a Super Bowl champion. Good for him. He's definitely dealt with a lot in his career. They have some dogs on the defense. Now, the thing about the Seahawks is they're up for sale, and they do have a lot of cap space with a lot of free agents. And I'm sure they're going to re-sign a lot of players in the offseason, but we don't know who's going to buy the team yet. But that's a conversation for later on. But as of right now, the Seahawks are your 2025, 2026 Super Bowl champions. And they have a lot to look forward to, especially with the cap space and who they can bring back. But that's basically it on my end for them. Obviously, I know.
Yeah, I kind of, obviously, like, if anyone's been seeing our content over the last few days, like, obviously I've been a lot about talking about the Patriots and basically reactions to Super Bowl. And honestly, it just looked like the Patriots didn't show up offensively. Defense, they're the ones that showed up this game. They're the reason, and shout out to our MVP, Christian Gonzalez, who proves why he's a top 3 cornerback in the damn NFL. I'm tired of people talking shit about him. He's a top or an NFL cornerback in this league, and he showed it. He literally prevented 3 touchdowns on his own. And he's the one that continued to try to lead that defense and try to make them feel like this is a game that they feel like they can still win. And it honestly felt like it going into the half because the score was only, 9-0? That's not impossible, especially knowing the Patriots and knowing what happens in Super Bowls. 9-0 is nothing. But the thing that kind of culminated and screwed us was obviously the offense. And the offense came out looking abysmal. Drake May did not look good at all in this entire game. And that was not only... I'm not even blaming the O-line. It's actually him and his plays himself. He did not pick up a lot of play calls. He did not pick up a lot of blitz. He did not do any audibles or adjustments on the fly. And you're not going to win the Super Bowl like that.
He's still young, so there's a lot.
It's literally his second year in the NFL. So I totally understand that those things are going to be learned with experience because picking up blitz, picking up coverages, especially with the Mike McDonald's defense and the Seattle's #1 defense, they threw schemes at him that he probably didn't even see all season long. And obviously when you have 2 weeks of prep time, that's exactly what they did. They pretty much showed Drake May's weaknesses and flaws all over the offensive field. As in terms of the offensive line, Morgan Moses was chewing them up alive because obviously he's our leader and our veteran on that offensive line. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, those guys did not show up on that left side. The entire left side was exposed all game long. Will Campbell continues to look bad in this entire playoffs.
I just want to say one thing about Will Campbell real quick. He's not fit to be a left tackle. He's more of a guard in the NFL. He's not
And people
big
did
enough.
say that because obviously he's on the smaller side.
Yeah.
But he got drafted in the 4th overall pick as a left tackle. He's going to continue playing left tackle. Mike Vrabel already said it coming out saying that we're not moving him from left tackle. And I get it. That's the player that you drafted. That's the player you're going to back up no matter what. Mike Vrabel is obviously one of those people that are going to back his players no matter what. So Will Campbell is someone that I know he's going to get better. It's just you have to go through the experience. He's a rookie dealing with DeMarcus fucking Lawrence. Like people forget that DeMarcus Lawrence was a top defensive end in the NFL. He came to the Seahawks and rejuvenated his career basically. So he destroyed Campbell all game long. Our run game was absolutely nothing, and that was one of my keys to what I thought the Patriots needed to do to win this game. Establish the run game. We couldn't get anything going because of obviously the offensive line and the Seattle's defense. In terms of play calling, I don't know what Josh McDaniels was doing with a lot of these play calls. He wasn't doing things that Patriots were doing all season long. There was no deep bombs, there was no deep throws, there was no deep plays down the entire game. That all started in literally the 4th quarter, which I'm confused on why it took us fucking 3 quarters to do that stuff. And the thing is, Drake May has the arm talent to do those deep bombs. We've seen it all season long. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. They just didn't attack. And because obviously I think Josh McDaniels was afraid of the pass defense of the Seattle versus the run defense. In reality, the run defense was more effective than the pass defense in my opinion because they stumped everything. Lastly, Seattle, they did enough to win this game. I'm not going to lie, Seattle didn't really impress me this game. There was nothing impressive from them. They did enough to win.
They played a more tougher defense. Obviously, like the Rams, they didn't really have a good defense, and then the 49ers, they have mad unhealthy.
That's the thing, and it continues to why I think that the Patriots defense is so good. Because obviously, the Seattle and the Rams game was a shootout. That wasn't here. Obviously, this the same players, the same talent. I didn't see any shootout. JSN was on lock the whole game. He did get hurt, but he did come back. He still did nothing. In my opinion, he had 1 catch, I believe, or 2 catches.
This is just more of a Kenneth Walker.
It's a Kenneth Walker. He ran it down our throats and won the game that way. And for the New England Patriots, as an entire season, it's an absolutely win-win in my opinion because one, going into the offseason, we obviously have a lot of players on rookie deals. We're going to be keeping the entire team again. And in this year's draft, we don't owe anybody any picks. We all have our own picks this year. So obviously we're going to build on that. And cap space, we still have some more cap space to sign maybe some offensive weapons. And it looks like we might get them, especially with a player like with the talent like Drake May and a coach like Mike Vrabel. I don't see why not players would now come to New England. I know back then it was a different story because do you really want to play with Bill Belichick and under him and deal with a quarterback like Tom Brady? Now it's a different scenario. It's a different time. I think it's a huge upside for New England going forward and going into next year. But that wraps up Super Bowl 60 in my opinion. And it was an okay Super Bowl. Like there was nothing exciting about it. I mean,
it just was a lot of defensive-minded games. Obviously, if you're not a fan of football, you're not gonna enjoy.
Nobody really enjoyed this Super Bowl that I know that doesn't watch football.
Exactly,
know?
And obviously we talked about the halftime show, Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
it was a good halftime show, and he had a lot of messages, and it was inspiring for a lot of people. But overall, in my opinion, Super Bowl 60. I would give it a solid 6.5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 4 out of 10. But that's just because I watched the Patriots get destroyed the entire game. And for the Bad Bunny stuff, it was great. I loved all the cameos and everything. I was just a little disappointed at. Obviously, I feel like the stadium fucked him with a lot of the mic issues. I don't know if that was the stadium itself or the production team, whatever it is. As well as I just think like he could have played a lot more songs with a lot more features. I still don't get the Lady Gaga feature because the Lady Gaga has nothing to do with Bad Bunny. That song that she sang was literally with Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
So I'm confused on the Lady Gaga thing this whole time still. But what it is. But Super Bowl 60, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. And that wraps up kind of our recap on Super Bowl. And you want to quickly talk about what heads into the offseason this year?
So I think the biggest question, like I'm going to talk about the Jets real quick. We hired a lot of great veteran coaches. We brought back a lot of veteran coaches, and we have a top 5 cap space. So the real question is now going to become, can we find our goddamn quarterback? Because we have not found our quarterback since as long as
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Not even Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like he just came on just to come on. You know what I'm saying? We had the talent then to make him look good.
It's Mark Sanchez.
And he was just competent too.
If we had to be
not
realistic.
even Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez wasn't really good as a quarterback.
He got to 2 AFC championships.
He did get us to 2 AFC championships. But when you look at it from a bigger perspective, if you look at who's in the AFC now, you still have Mahomes, still have Jackson, Burrow, Allen, and now Drake May. Now you possibly even Bo Nix when he's healthy. You know what I mean? Trevor Lawrence when he has a good team around him.
There's a lot of good quarterbacks.
AFC's a gauntlet right now. We have no quarterback. Our defenses look lost at the end of the season. There's nothing to look forward to as of right now. Free agency starts next month. There's a lot of teams that obviously need pieces. Right. I know the Patriots need some weapons. We need some weapons.
For sure.
There's a lot of questions about who's going to resign, who's going to get traded. This is a big draft because there's a lot of people that are looking to move up, a lot of people looking to come down. We don't know as of yet. So I think this is a pretty exciting offseason in the sense that we don't know what to expect right now because this Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the season, nobody had.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, when you I'll give you a perfect example. The Patriots last season, I believe they had the second most cap space. And they just went like, here, just take the money.
And it worked out.
And it worked out. It worked out for them. And you have teams that have that cap space this season, this coming off season. Can they do the same? But the only difference is this free agent class is not as strong as last year's. So it's a matter of them getting the opportunity to come to these teams, play for them. Obviously, whatever money they get, they get. But at the end of the day, it's just a opportunity for any team to get better realistically. But I think this is going to be an exciting offseason is because nobody knows what's really going to happen.
Yeah, and it goes back to obviously like going into the offseason, I think there is no true, again, Super Bowl favorite right now. I think obviously all these teams are all over the place. And when it comes to Seattle-wise, because obviously you already touched upon it, how they have a lot of cap space and a lot of free agents. Kenneth Walker now just he pretty much put himself into a bag. And if his agent is a good fucking agent, he will get him a lot of damn money.
And the Seahawks have the money to pay him.
They have. If they really want to keep him, they will have to pay him.
They'll bring back a good amount of players, but they'll lose some really talented players.
That's what I'm thinking too, because if Kenneth Walker's agent is a real agent, he would ask for the damn top money as a running back after that Super Bowl performance.
Yeah, he definitely
and you go to a team, obviously that's going to pay him that.
Yeah, he's definitely worth at least, obviously the running back market versus wide receivers.
Yeah, it's different.
It's a lot different. Wide receivers are getting paid $20+ million. You're not going to get that from a running back because of the longevity.
Right.
But I see Kenneth Walker getting at least a $15 million contract.
For sure. And then in terms of Patriots, like I already said, we have a lot of our team coming back because they're still on rookie deals. And that's the great part about our team. There's a lot of damn young guys. And there's a lot of good veterans that already signed from last year. So they're already on the books. And we're getting a bunch of new draft picks this year. And obviously with the performance that we had this year and the culture of the Patriots now, I don't see why we can't get talent and why we can't get weapons to the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a star running back or a receiver that wants to come. because of just Mike Vrabel himself. I know every year it's the damn talk about A.J. Brown. It's the damn talk of, is he going to leave Philadelphia?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson is another one. There's a lot of big receivers that I don't see, and I can definitely see them want to play with Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
So let's see how that plays out. Obviously, we'll cap and recap anything that happens in the offseason in the NFL world. We'll touch upon it real quick if it's a really big story. But that kind of wraps up our NFL season entirety for this year. And it was a ride. It was crazy. We covered it from literally from beginning to end.
This is the most unpredictable season that we've had.
Craziest NFL season in my opinion, and it was a great way to start off our podcast by recapping this NFL season. But that wraps up our NFL 2025 to 2026 season. All right, guys, now it's time for our NBA recap, and I'll let Farden start off with his favorite 2 games this week.
Yeah, so the first game I want to talk about is the Nuggets versus the Knicks. This is a possible NBA Finals matchup, and it kind of pretty much showed that this was a possible NBA Finals matchup. The Knicks won this game 134 to 127 in double overtime. And we just had the superstars going off for each team. Nikola Jokic had a big game. Jalen Brunson dropped over 40 points.
It's funny, the game started slow too.
Yeah. And it just picked up at the end. Crazy. Like, I think Jamal Murray hit a game-tying shot in the first overtime. And there was just a lot of hoopla going around for each team. But the thing about both teams, they have the Robin to the Batman, so to speak. Obviously, you consider Jokic, you consider Brunson, but Cat showed up for the Knicks, and then Jamal Murray showed up for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
The difference between these two teams right now is the Nuggets aren't completely healthy. The Knicks were somewhat healthier than the Knicks, than the Nuggets this game. But the Nuggets, they need Aaron Gordon to come back. I don't see them doing as much without him.
They need him, yeah.
But they definitely show that they can keep up with, even with a less talented roster because of...
But having him just completely changes the whole game.
Yeah, for sure. And at this point, later, the Knicks, they lost the game to the Pistons, but they were riding an 8-game winning streak. And they're looking like a top team in the East, or in the NBA in general. Mm-hmm. But the Pistons, they're definitely pushing themselves ahead in the Eastern Conference. And they have, I believe, a 5-game lead over the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, the second game I want to talk about is the Heat versus the Celtics. The Celtics won this game 98-96. This wasn't a typical game from the Celtics, and they actually haven't been playing like themselves as of late. This was actually the game started off really slow for Boston. I believe they were down 58-39 at halftime, and I think the biggest lead that the Heat have was like 22, 23.
Yeah.
But then in the second half, the Celtics started settling in, and they just put on a clinic. I believe they outscored the Heat like 65 to 30 or something.
And that's the thing with the Heat, they just don't have scorers to keep them up going like that.
Like, there's no Tyler Hero, and they don't really have a point guard. But the Celtics, they acquired Nikola Vucevic, and he pretty much had a big game for them.
That's what he does, a double-double. That's what he is.
But the thing about the Celtics, what they did was they brought Peyton Pritchard back off the bench, and they started Sam Hauser, they started Jordan Walsh, Derek White was running the point.
So an interesting lineup.
It is a very interesting lineup. And the thing about the Celtics, they just got pummeled by the Knicks last game. And I've been talking about this for a long time, ever since Joe Mazzulla took over, is the fact that they play too much iso ball.
Yeah, especially if they play like that. They're not beating the Knicks with that squad. Like, without Tatum, they're not beating the Knicks.
It's not even that they can beat the Knicks. I just don't know why they can't adjust their game. You know, like, I feel like there's so much more elements. They can move the ball better. And if you just look at their field goal percentage in the last several games, each of them is shooting like below 40%, and they don't have to. They can trust in one another. Obviously, they don't have the same team that they once had, but you're not giving the opportunities for these other players to make the big plays that they need to. Like when I went to the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtic game, Hugo Gonzalez hit a big shot. And he's a good player.
He doesn't even play now.
Yeah, like, I don't see why you're not giving him the ball more. Obviously, now you bring in Nikola Vucevic. I'm sure he's going to get settled into the offensive side. Into the starting lineup, rather. But they just need to start trusting the ball more until Tatum comes back. But, yeah, those are the 2 games that I wanted to talk about.
All right, and then for my 2 games, I want to talk about is the Cavs versus the Kings. And this is mostly about the Cavs. They obviously made that big trade for James Harden. And a lot of people had questions, was this going to work with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell? It sure as hell damn works. Because now you put these 2 together, and this is a fucking problem. Because now you probably have one of the 2 best backcourts in the damn NBA, and that was immediate from the first 2 games already. James Harden was already making an impact with 23 points and 8 assists, just literally operating the damn offense himself at this point, and that's exactly what Donovan Mitchell needed. Because Donovan Mitchell always felt like, okay, Darius Garland is the point guard, but he knew that I need to still take the reins from him because he feels like Darius Garland is so inconsistent. With James fucking Harden, you don't gotta worry about that because James Harden damn leads the damn offense. So Donovan Mitchell does what he does, and now is a damn scorer, and that's why he dropped 30 plus.
Yeah, now he doesn't have to be the facilitator that James Harden
Let
is.
him be the damn scorer.
Yeah,
He's
not even the scorer. Like let him. Oh yeah, well Donovan Mitchell. Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell. That's what I'm talking about. And James Harden will get his 20 every game if he really wants to.
And he'll give him 10 assists.
And the perfect point is the Cavs did this because they wanted to feed their big men. Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, huge benefits for them with this James Harden play because every center and every power forward that plays with James Harden, they all elevate their game because of James Harden feeds them the ball. In terms of the Kings, they just suck. I got nothing else to say about them.
They're the worst team in the NBA right now.
DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook, two NBA, like in my 2010s, they were obviously one of the big stars in the NBA. Now they're wasting away in Sacramento. Obviously, both of those people are there. Only reason is because they like to be close to home. That's the only damn reason they're in Sacramento, in my opinion. And they're going to sadly waste their careers there. I don't know if DeMar DeRozan's going anywhere. I doubt it. And I don't know what Russell Westbrook does. He just literally goes to a different team every year now at this point. So the Kings just suck. I got nothing else to say about the Kings. The next game is the Clippers versus the T-Wolves. Now this game, I thought the T-Wolves were going to smack the Clippers, in my opinion, because the T-Wolves were fully loaded. They were healthy against a Kawhi Leonard only Clippers at this point. There's nobody else on that team. This team started off with a bunch of bums and a bunch of old people when I started off our NBA recap for NBA season starter. I was like, this team is a bunch of old people and a bunch of bums. And now you look at this team, it's just sadly Kawhi Leonard left.
There's players that I saw on the team, I'm like, yo, who are you guys?
Exactly. And Kawhi Leonard was like, you know what? I'm in my Kobe zone. I'm not passing the damn ball to anyone. He dropped 41 points. And the thing is with Kawhi Leonard, when he is on, he is motherfucking on. Because Kawhi Leonard is a top 5 NBA player when he is on. Because he is so efficient from the field, it's actually crazy. He's automatic in the mid-range. He's automatic from 3 at this point. And he's still a solid defender. So it's crazy to me that when Kawhi Leonard wants to play, he plays like a top 5 player.
I got a conspiracy. I feel like he had some shit going on with gambling or something like that.
Okay, I don't care about that stuff.
I mean, but if you think about it,
I don't think he really cares about any of that stuff. You
don't know that.
Yeah, I don't, but I don't care about that. I don't want to put that crap in the air. That's not real, bro. Like Kawhi Leonard, he has too much money anyway to think about that stuff. Because I get the other players because Terry Rozier and those bums, they barely made money like that versus Kawhi Leonard, who's literally a franchise player and has Converse deals and everything deals. Like, that stuff, I don't think he cares about that stuff that much. I just think Kawhi Leonard is at this point in his career where he's already won 2 chips. He's already won 2 NBA Finals MVPs. He's someone that's cemented his legacy at this point already. So he's just honestly playing for the fuck of it at this point. And yeah, 41 points. They won this game. In terms of the T-Wolves, they didn't have a good shooting night from Edwards. Julius Randle is not a solidified number 2 player. He's a number 3 at best. And honestly, I think the T-Wolves should have made a big trade in this season. Yeah. They did it. They could have gotten for Ja Morant, I think.
They could have gotten Giannis.
They could have gotten Giannis. They could have gotten Ja Morant. There's a lot of plays they could have made for it, and they didn't. And let's see, maybe it's obviously with that team, it's do or die with Anthony Edwards. It's how they're going to go as far as he takes them. So if Anthony Edwards decides to have an efficient game and scoring, then the T-Wolves will move further into going into the playoffs. But that kind of wraps up my favorite 2 games for this week. And in general, that wraps up our NBA recap because right now we're heading into All-Star break, so a lot of these teams are going to be going on a little bit of break, going into the All-Star. And right after the All-Star, that's kind of where we see the NBA season really pick up, where a lot of these teams are fighting for seeds and fighting to get healthy and get ready for the NBA playoffs. And obviously, we're going to recap it all going forward. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our WWE recap for this week. And first off, we're going to talk about SmackDown. So SmackDown started off with Cody Rhodes pretty much attacking Drew McIntyre to start the show off. Cody Rhodes came out with some true fire and conviction in his promos. And it's just, obviously, I think a lot of people notice this, but Cody Rhodes has been getting better in his promos every week. And that's just because he's now doesn't have the title. He has that fight and drive in him, and he's really good at chasing the champ. And as the champ, he's just so like, okay, you're the champ, we get it. When he chases, things are more interesting when he's chasing the champion because it's a different Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. He's more hungry. He's more ready to like fight and ready to be more like people are always wanting him, be more heelish if it needed to be. Next up, we had Carmelo Hayes pretty much defeat The Miz. And that looks like that's finally the end of their storyline. They had their match.
That storyline was going on for too long.
Yeah, it was just obviously just the Miz. They're just trying to get TV time and Carmelo Hayes opponents to fight because it's like Carmelo Hayes is starting to fight the same old opponents every week now. So they needed something to switch up, and they finally ended it there. Tiffany Stratton, she won her triple threat match to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. It was a decent match. It was Tiffany Stratton. I kind of figured was going to be the one that was going to actually. I don't know. I thought Lash Legend could have qualified after her performance in the Royal Rumble, but maybe they just don't think she's ready yet. So
she'll get her stick. Maybe she'll win Money in the Bank or something.
Maybe
like
something like that. But that easily Tiffany Stratton qualified. Next up, we had Obafemi come out. He just destroyed Kit Wilson, and that's just going to be like the role for Obafemi right now until I guess they solidify what his WrestleMania plans are.
I think when obviously they plan for WrestleMania long before they get into the new year. I'm sure they didn't have Obafemi in their cards. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's just a good thing for him to get the TV time that he needs, and then once WrestleMania is over, they could be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do now with Obafemi.
Yeah, and then I think obviously after Elimination Chamber, his plans are gonna be like ready to go.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to kill time, maybe try to confirm if Brock Lesnar is wanting to do that spot with him. Next up, we had Drew McIntyre who wanted to come out for another promo. This time he got attacked by Jacob Fatu. And
Nobody likes my man.
It was just Drew McIntyre just trying to get a damn word in. He couldn't really get a word in. And then he got attacked. And then McIntyre came out again later on in the show, finally got a word in, addressing the CM Punk and Roman Reigns promo because they did really kind of throw shots at Drew McIntyre saying that he is the lesser champion. So Drew had to come out and throw a little shot back and just solidify that everyone wants to be fighting for the WWE Championship, not the World Heavyweight. And obviously, he can say that, but it all matters about the stars and where the stars are at. And unfortunately, the stars are for the World Heavyweight Championship right now.
I feel like in the past when we had just the regular WWE Championship and then the World Heavyweight Championship, like in the mid 2000s up until they unified the title, I just feel like it needs to come back to that point because both titles were looked as equal. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of. No, everybody viewed the WWE Championship
as the best. That's true.
But
like you had the opportunities where the Royal Rumble winner would go after the World Heavyweight Championship.
I get it.
The Undertaker went after Batista.
But it all depends on storyline and who was on what roster. That's the thing. Back then, rosters were more apparent and cared about more.
Yeah.
Now it's really all over the place. So I just honestly think, for the last few years, it was obviously the WWE Championship that was the more prestigious title. But now it's an automatic switch to the World Heavyweight because the two stars of the WWE carry it.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns and CM Punk, they're the bigger stars, honestly, versus Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. If you compare those two versus the other two, it's obviously World Heavyweight Championship.
Whichever one generates more money.
And that's World Heavyweight Championship title picture right now. Next up, we had a throwaway match, but it looks like it's a match that's leading to something bigger. It was Tama Tonga versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They obviously have history back in New Japan. That's why this match had a little bit more backline story to it. And with this, Tama Tonga won this match with interference from obviously the MFTs. And there's a lot of talks about how two wrestlers from New Japan just finished up their time in New Japan, and it looks like WWE is trying to bring them in. Maybe they bring him in with Shinsuke Nakamura and he has his own little Japanese faction. So I could possibly seeing that as something going into Mania for Shinsuke Nakamura and his group. I think the two stars their names are Evil and Hiromu Takahashi. So I doubt that there's going to be the same. Maybe Evil might be the same name, but I doubt that Takahashi is going to have the same name coming into WWE. So that might be a storyline to look forward to going into Mania. Lastly, we had Randy Orton, who qualified for the Elimination Chamber. He qualifies for his 10th chamber, which is the most in history. So Randy Orton, he had to be part of this title picture. It's just obvious at this point. Well, how can you not have him at the Elimination Chamber? That wraps up SmackDown recap. Then we go right on to Raw recap, where the show started off with Becky Lynch and now returning AJ Lee. They had a nice little promo, pretty much solidifying their match is going to eventually happen. It looks like we thought it was going to happen at Mania. A lot of people thought it was going to be a Mania match, but it's actually happening in Elimination Chamber. So in Chicago, it makes me think, I'm like, okay, is this the first one? Are they going to have another one that sets up for Mania?
Well, she's got to be at WrestleMania. I mean, come on. You can't really have not AJ Lee in the WrestleMania.
Yeah, you could. But that's the thing. I can definitely see Becky winning this first match and then having AJ win it at Mania.
Maybe there's some help from the outside.
Yeah, so we could see how that storyline plays out because I doubt that this is the first and one and done match, you know. So I think there's going to be another one.
For sure.
Next up, we pretty much had a tag team match between the Usos and the Alpha Academy. Great tag team match. These Usos, obviously, they work really well together. There was still some botch moments. It's Jey Uso. Like, it's just...
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Alpha Academy was great. Tozawa was great. Otis was great. So it was good to see them kind of get a good, like, little run with this. But then after the match, we had Jimmy Uso take the mic and wanting Jey Uso to go qualify for the Elimination Chamber. And I'm just like, okay, I guess you really want your brother to be in the main event picture. But, like, in reality, that's your
Nobody wants it.
In your reality, that's your tag team partner. And obviously, Elimination Chamber, you want the most stars on that. And most likely, it looks like Jimmy's not going to be on that show. But guess what? Jey Uso's got to be on these damn shows because of the entrance, because of the music. So that's why I could definitely see him saying that he's going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, and he most likely will qualify for the Chamber. Next up, we had Liv Morgan and Dom come out for a promo. This was pretty much just a promo to reinvigorate that Liv Morgan is most likely going to be going after Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer came out. They had a nice little back and forth.
Is Dom still hurt, technically?
I think so, because he's not really fighting anybody. He's just now making appearances. So I do think that the future storyline is definitely Dom and Finn at Mania. That's going to be the story. That's going to be the match, for sure. I think we're going to get Demon Balor back at Mania, and I think he's going to fight Dirty Dom, and I think Balor might even win the IC title and go face. That's the storyline, I think, set for Balor right now. But we'll talk about Balor because he actually does come up a little bit later on the show. Next up, we had Rhea Ripley qualify for the Elimination Chamber. When we saw that match announced, we were like, okay,
yeah,
it's
especially when she was fighting, like, come on.
Yeah, we knew that Lyra wasn't going to win, and we knew that Ivy Nile wasn't going to win. So Rhea Ripley qualifies. It makes me think, is Io Sky going to qualify as well? Because she isn't announced for a qualifying match yet. Next up is, where we talk about, is Finn Balor comes out, and he pretty much comes out and interrupts the show saying that he wants to fight CM Punk, and he wants to have one more match with CM Punk. And he kind of got that. Punk came out, and he pretty much had a little, well, the scheduled segment was to have a interview with Michael Cole. And I guess that got obviously cut short by Finn Balor. Adam Pearce came out, made the match official at Elimination Chamber in Chicago. So that's already 2 matches right then and there announced for Chicago. That's already your 4 matches right there for
yeah, so women's, men's.
Women's, men's, and
Becky, AJ,
and Finn Balor and CM Punk. That's already your card right there for Elimination Chamber set. Yeah. And it's already, 3 weeks away? So they
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks away. So they already set it pretty early, which is great to see. So it gives them time to build to these matches. And I think, obviously, it's just a match for Punk to have on the Chamber card because it's in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, Punk is going to win that because you're just building to CM Punk and Roman Reigns at this point. So that's that storyline. We also had Natty versus Maxine Dupree throwaway match, but AJ Lee comes out just to save Maxine because...
I feel like that's going to be the backfiring to Elimination Chamber, hypothetically, if that's what actually does happen.
You think, if Natty plays a factor, I can definitely see that. Maxine, those two get involved into this match. Maybe we could see a fatal 4-way at Mania.
I was going to say, obviously we're not going to give our elimination predictions right now, but maybe something happens where Becky capitalizes, AJ capitalizes,
right.
We don't know yet.
That's what I'm saying. Those two can possibly play a factor because they just got involved in this little feud on the side now. Next up, we had a backstage segment with Gunther. And we were always talking about Gunther, what is really next for him. And it's been announced that he is actually going to be in the Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Javon Evans and, it was Javon, and I forgot who the other guy was. And it was a really good, it was going to be interesting triple threat. But obviously, Gunther is going to win that, I believe, because if Gunther's qualifying the damn Chamber match, how do you not
have him
win?
Yeah.
Because...
But that would set up him versus Drew
McIntyre.
Which would be a...
But they're both douchebag heels. So it's like, you don't know how it works. So you can't, literally, wrestling lore-wise, you can't do that.
Listen, man, if that actually happens, I'm all for it.
Well, they had a match. They had
that's with Sheamus. Yeah.
And that was the best match of Mania that year. So obviously, I know those two can have a good match, but it's just so, throwing Gunther in that, just to me, feels like someone's going to cost Gunther that match. That's what automatically it sets it up for me. And it makes me interesting to see because I think that the way that they're doing this Chamber is 3 from SmackDown, 3 from Raw. That's got to be the way that they're doing it at this point. And because obviously we have next week where Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn, that's a crazy Chamber qualifying match. That's a qualifying match.
That-
Those are 3 people that you think would be in the damn chamber.
Yeah.
But no, one of them only is going out of them. So it makes you think, like, Cody Rhodes, is he going ahead or is he not? And how can you not have Cody Rhodes in that damn chamber match? So it's like, what's going on in that storyline? Because why would WWE make that the qualifying match and not have... Because Sami Zayn is playing this role where he's just a sad moping around now, Sami. And Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes still have their heat going on. So who do you put over in that? It's got to be Cody Rhodes, I assume. But...
He's the guy.
That's the guy, but then how do you not have Jacob Fatu in it? And I guess Sami Zayn is probably not factored into this. So that's crazy on that end. On the Raw side, the show ended with LA Knight being the first Raw person to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. This match was with Penta and with Austin Theory. So in this storyline, the show, we forgot to talk about, the show started off with Braun Breaker now being announced questionable. We don't know how long he's going to be out. We don't know if he's going to be back for Mania. And I think this Vision storyline is literally treading water right now.
I think this would have been Braun Breaker instead of Austin Theory in this position.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. If Breaker didn't, I think if Breaker didn't get hurt, this match would have just been Breaker in it.
Yeah,
and I think Breaker wins it.
Yeah.
So, but either way, no matter what, I didn't think Breaker was winning the Chamber. I think that Masked Man is still playing a factor no matter what. So even if Breaker won, I think that Masked Man would have cost him in the Chamber anyway. But I think it's still building to Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker at Mania. That's what it looks like it's going to be. But because they're still playing this masked character, assuming that Seth Rollins is still coming back. Because he's using Seth Rollins' moves. It is what it is, right? But Breaker, hopefully he comes back and continues that set for that match. And that's why we were talking about how this whole WrestleMania build is all over the place now. Because so many injuries, so many questions that still need to be answered. And LA Knight qualifies. And I think, in my opinion, let's talk about exactly who we think can possibly qualify left. So
you got Gunther.
Who most likely
Randy
will.
Orton qualified.
No, I'm not talking about, let's go by brand. So SmackDown, you have Randy already qualified. Cody Rhodes most likely will qualify. And then you have one more left spot. If it's not Fatu, if it's not Sami.
Obafemi.
And if maybe Obafemi, if he's on that show, let's see if he qualifies. I don't know who else would be. I feel like they might have like a second chance match. And maybe Fatu slips his way in there. I can see that happening. On the Raw side, we have LA Knight, most likely Gunther. Who gets that third spot?
Brock Lesnar. But he's not going to fight on Raw.
No, I don't think you're going to have this in the Chamber match. Like, I'm trying to think, like, who can they have logically that would pretty much work in that Chamber?
Well, Austin Theory lost. So Logan Paul, Bronson Reed.
I can see Logan Paul maybe slipping his way in there in a qualifying match next week, getting announced. Bronson Reed. I don't see why not you don't at least put one of the Vision in that Chamber, right? Like, because they're one of the biggest stars on Raw. How do you not have one of them in that Chamber match if you're doing 3 Raw, 3 SmackDown?
Yeah.
So Logan Paul, I definitely could see probably getting that last spot on Raw. So let's see how that plays out. But that kind of sums up our wrestling recap for this week. It's the build to Chamber. We still have a lot more qualifying matches to get settled for the next 2 weeks. And then we'll pretty much get into Chamber. And right after Chamber is Mania season straight on, where all the plans will most likely fit into fold at that point. But that sums up our wrestling recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time for our sideline heel takes this week. And for me, my take, I'm going to start off first, is going to be talking about what's going on right now in the NBA season where, like we said earlier, we're going right into All-Star Weekend. And this is something that everyone is used to be excited for. Now the All-Star Weekend is not really exciting in my opinion. We have the dunk contest going on right now with a bunch of no-names. The three-point contest is a bunch of people where it's honestly people that just want to shoot. They just don't I feel like there's no really, the three-point contest is the best thing about it because there's actually people want to show off their three-point skills. And it's funny enough, Damian Lillard is playing. Fucking Damian Lillard hasn't played a whole damn game forever. And he wants to show up for the three-point contest, which is hilarious to me. I'm like, okay, I guess we can make that work.
You don't got to play.
Right, and it's just so funny to me now. Damian Lillard just wants to show up for the three-point contest. But I think there's a lot of ways, and let's talk about the All-Star game itself. The All-Star game is now versus Team USA versus Team World. The World team does not care that much versus the USA team, in my opinion. I think the World team is really going to be lackadaisical in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of competitiveness in this.
Which is crazy to say because the Team World team on paper
is better.
Is stacked.
It's better. It's just stacked. It's better. But like in reality, I know that the Team USA would probably have more of competitiveness and want to win that game, especially with LeBron James and Kevin Durant leading that team.
Yeah.
So it's like they're gonna tell them like, let's go win this damn game. So it's just like, okay, can we bring back competitiveness? Can we bring back the aura of the All-Star game? And I feel like I can give some reasons why I think we can bring it back. So I want to talk about why I think the All-Star weekend needs a huge upgrade. And here's some 3 things that I can talk about that we can do. First off, get rid of the damn skills contest. That's always been terrible in my opinion. I think you bring back a 1v1 contest and winner gets $1 million. That's I guarantee you players will play for that. And you bring a 1v1 contest, you're going to get a lot of battles, you're going to get a lot of shit talking, you're going to get a lot of people going at each other. Why not? You have a 1v1 contest, game 7, winner to 7, first to score 7. I think that you can easily do that. You do a bracket, whoever wants to play, you play. And you get to see who really are skilled NBA players, ISO players. You put Kyrie Irving in that 1v1 contest against, like, for example, you could put him up against Jaylen Brown. That would be very entertaining to watch, in my opinion. Because you could think about it, there's going to be matchups where someone's bigger, someone's taller, right? Or someone's stronger. But it's all about 1v1. It's about how you can pretty much get the ball into the basket. Let's talk about, for example, a person like Michael Beasley, who everyone in the NBA world considered was the best one-on-one ISO player ever. He's not really, but nobody ever is going to remember him as a damn good great NBA player. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do a contest like this, for example, you can think of someone, a no-name on any team, like Trey Johnson. He could probably somehow sneak his way into a 1v1 final. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have players like this sign up for a 1v1 contest for $1 million, you know they're going to get some competitiveness, and that'd be a great way to start off an All-Star weekend. Next up, the three-point contest. The three-point contest is already as good as itself, but I think there's ways you could definitely highlight it even more. For example, we obviously have money racks. You establish one money rack. I think you can establish one deep rack where it's kind of farther than usual. It's like a super, like, you could consider it a 4-point line. A limitless range, a 4-point line, whatever you want to call it, and let them do a whole rack from there, and let those points be worth, like, I guess you could say they could be worth like 3 points, in my opinion, if you make any of them, because they're already really far. And then why not at the end have one logo shot worth 5 points? That could put you up even higher, because you get one chance at a logo shot, that could automatically put you from maybe a third place, or you could win first place by hitting a 5-point shot. So I think that could sum it up. Let's talk about, in terms of the dunk contest. The dunk contest is so bad now, it's not even funny. And we don't really have any good players. I think the best way to do the dunk contest, if you ever see online, there's so many talented dunkers out there in the world. I think you do 2 NBA players versus 2 professional dunkers. And right then and there, I think that brings the competitiveness, because you have 2 NBA players who are like, hey, we're in the NBA, you're not. So obviously we're gonna already think that we're better than you. But remember, these are professional dunkers. So all they do is dunk. And that's going to kind of put more pressure on the NBA players to actually show up and have some creative dunks versus these pro dunkers. I think it makes it way more interesting, because you have that pride versus NBA pride versus being someone off the street or off like just a professional dunker. I think there's always people like that, because you always see like NBA people on Instagram and these trainers and everything putting up these videos. And there's a lot of NBA players that are skeptical about them. Like, for example, like Lethal Shooter. He's just a really great shot. I guarantee you there's people in the NBA that think that they're a way better shooter than him. Guaranteed, right? And why not have him, or example, like talking about players like him or creators like them come to a stage like All-Star and show out versus these real players and show the competitiveness between the two. Let's go to the All-Star game. I think the All-Star game, obviously, you need to have some incentives in this game, just like the Cup games. Because it looked like obviously, it works with Adam Silver, saw it with the Cup games. The Cup games actually get pretty serious towards the end, because obviously there's money involved in it. You got to put money involved in these All-Star games, because the only reason why I'm saying that, you can't do it for charity. I'm not going to lie. Like, players do not really care that much if you're playing for charity. Because think about it this way. These players can rather be on vacation versus being at an All-Star game. If they're at an All-Star game with incentives to get more money, they will put more effort into the damn All-Star game. That's why I think the best way to do it, instead of having a full actual NBA game, you have 4 8-minute quarters, 8-minute quarters instead of the full 15, and the pace will be much faster. The buckets will be quicker. The defense will be played a lot more because every bucket counts at that point. And when it comes to, I think this is something interesting they should try. Blocks, steals, and defensive charges all equal 1 point. I think that'd be fun. That'd be innovative. That switches up the game. Because, like, think about it this way. Like, if you innovate and you try these new things in an NBA game, the All-Star time is the perfect time to try them out. Because guess what? What if blocks and steals want to be something that you could incorporate into an actual NBA game and actually equal points? That's crazy, right? And I think that'd be something interesting to do because why else block a shot? Why else steal a ball? You could do that anytime to lead to fast break points, right? That's the whole point of playing those type of games. And defensive charges, you use that to slow down the other offenses. If you really want to play that type of factor and solidify a game around that, you can get points out of it. And I think the best time to try it is within an All-Star game. So there's ways to definitely spice up the All-Star game. I just think it's been pretty shit for the last 5-6 years. So I don't want them to become like the damn Pro Bowl because the Pro Bowl is already terrible. So please maybe try a little bit better with the All-Star game because obviously people are starting to get tired of it.
I agree with you with the three-point contest. I feel like that's the most entertaining skill game that they do at the All-Star game currently. As far as the dunk contest goes, I'm not going to lie to you, and this might be a hot take on its own, but I think they should just stop doing the dunk contest. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we've seen so many dunks over the last several years, and these NBA players, they're not going to be doing what these professional dunkers do, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to try to break their necks trying to do some crazy shit that we see on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And at the end of the day, I feel like they're just going to do what their body fits capable of them doing, you know what I mean? Obviously, the two professional dunkers, I feel like they're going to outshine them. And it's obviously...
That's the whole point.
It is the whole point, but I'm just saying from like a professional basketball standpoint, it's not going to look good on the NBA players not being able to do it.
That's why you want to have players that actually want to fucking try and beat these guys.
But I get that, but I don't think it's ever going to, like, you know, the seriousness from them is not going to... Like, for example, people have been clamoring for LeBron James to be in the dunk contest for years.
He's 40-something now.
It's not even that. Like, even when he was younger,
yeah,
we know that LeBron's not going to do some crazy shit. Like, I remember when watching his videos when he was on the Heat doing, like, a dunk contest in the Heat gym, just throwing it off the wall.
He does it all the time in pre-games.
Yeah, but it's nothing like spontaneous. Like, we see him do windmills. Everybody knows how to do windmills in the NBA, I'm sure of it. Like, he's never really known for his underneath the legs 360 type of dunk, you know what I'm saying?
You know of.
That we know of. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like he's just never been the type, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we saw that crazy dunk contest in 2016 with Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon, who I still think to this day Aaron Gordon got robbed. But that's a conversation for another day. But as far as the dunk contest goes...
The second time I think he got robbed.
That's true, too.
The first time I think LaVine won, but I think the second time he got robbed.
That's true, but...
When he dunked over Bol. He should have won that one.
Taco Fall.
Taco Fall, sorry. Called Taco Fall.
But I think just for the dunk contest, I think there's just no thrill in it anymore, and it just sucks because it was the main event of the night, and now it's not. I think the three-point contest highlights the night.
Yeah.
As far as the 1v1, I get it. I like the idea, but I feel like it's hard for teams to be like, okay, fine, you go, because everybody's gonna want to go.
That's the point. It is the point,
but why would you put that stress on the players against their own team?
Okay, but that builds a lot of. You could actually see a lot of things happen in that 1v1 contest because obviously you're not gonna have a lot of players that want to do it. You're not.
The only way I see it happen is if the fans get involved.
Why don't you do a fan vote?
But they're obviously going to go for the star players, which is understandable, but like...
That'd be crazy.
But like, I want to see fucking Jose Alvarado go up against like Steph Curry, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I would just want to see, but it's just hard to create something like that because of it. But I do like the idea that
it all depends on how seriously the players want to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that's something that they do, I agree with the incentives, and obviously this is more of the money aspect. Same thing with the All-Star game in its own right. And I do agree with you. This generally should be a time for teams to take a break for midseason, and obviously not going to be doing that. And if they want to play, why not just throw something in something? I totally agree with
that's the only way you're going to get them to actually want to participate at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
The only time I remember the All-Star really being competitive is when Kobe passed.
Yeah.
Because they were playing for a reason.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant passed
That's
away.
his 24-point, yeah.
And those monies were going to Kobe's foundations and charities. So there was a reason at that time.
I feel like in just professional sports right now, the All-Star games for the two most watched sports, which is basketball and football, they're just awful. They're just unnecessary. They have no creative. Like, I get it, making flag football with the NFL at the Pro Bowl games, but the Pro Bowl, no players ever taking the Pro Bowl seriously. Nobody players taking the NBA seriously. When it comes to the NHL and the MLB, on the other hand, they take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, you have Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal out there throwing 100 at Shohei
but that's the thing,
and Aaron Judge.
You know why? That's the only difference is you can't half-ass those two sports. That's the thing.
That's true. That's true. Well, hockey, they obviously do their skill games. They try to get around the goalie. They do different things. And
nobody watches that. Nobody watches that.
Well, obviously, those that do, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just speaking on.
People watch the actual All-Star hockey game versus the skill games.
But if you look at it from the All-Star skill, I don't know what to call it. Like their version of what the NBA All-Star Saturday Night is. You know what I'm saying? But like baseball, we have the home run derby. That shit's always entertaining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like the NBA, they just need to get a better idea to make it more entertaining because they could do a lot with it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, but I think that kind of sums up my sideline heel take. But I just do obviously agree. We both pretty much agree that the All-Star game needs to be switched up. There has to be changes to it. But I'll let Farden continue with his sideline heel take for this week.
Yeah, so we're actually in the Winter Olympics right now, and we're actually watching the Olympics unfold in front of us. But this might be a hot take to a lot of people, and I'm sure that this is the point of the sideline heel take. But I think the Olympics are overrated, both summer and winter. Just a disclaimer, I'm not talking about basketball, because when it comes to the basketball Olympics, it's always entertaining. And I feel like that's the most watched sport in Olympics right now, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I'll give you my reasons why. It comes down to three things. It comes down to skill, it comes down to financial burden, and it also comes down to corruption. So the first thing I want to talk about is the skill and the financial aspect of things. I think it's definitely prideful for countries to have athletes get sent to the Olympics, and it's great to see smaller countries get the recognition that they deserve. But you always have these larger countries win most of the medals, and it also brings in the financial aspect of things where the smaller countries, they don't have the skill, talent of the athletes that are competing for each sport, and they're just getting sent to these countries for for a few days. It's obviously a toll on their Olympic committee to create that financial aspect of things. But at the end of the day, it's prideful. If I get a chance to go to the Olympics, I would. I'm not saying I don't want the Olympics to occur. I just feel like the overall concept of it, based off of the people that play or participate in it, it's not necessarily worth it, in my opinion. And there's also definitely been a viewership decline over the years. I don't think people talk about it as much as they once did. Obviously, nowadays, you have things like F1, you have the FIFA World Cup, you even have cricket. Obviously, I don't watch cricket, but I'm just saying from a worldwide perspective, it's still probably the second most watched sport behind soccer, in my opinion. But people don't really talk about the Olympics. We're going to discuss what happened in diving or in gymnastics. I think gymnastics also has a cater to basketball, but overall, you just don't hear the same speech as you would the other major global events, like the ICC World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. And I also think that's just lesser known sports that are occurring in these Olympics. Like right now, the Olympics are in Milan, and all these sports they haven't really been talking about. And I feel like they should, and that just kind of overrates that idea that the Olympics is not as what it once used to be. And also, there's always usually some corruption involved, whether that's in politics. But at the end of the day, we can't dictate that. If you want to bid for your country to host the Olympics, by all means, but don't get involved in some political bullshit where you pay more than other things, because there's got to be an equal presentability. For example, having the Olympics right now in Milan, it makes total sense. Right now it's winter in the Alps, and it's like you can do so many different types of things with the Olympics there. And I know they had controversy when it went to Beijing in 2008. Obviously, they had it in London over the years. They had it in Rio in 2016. But at the end of the day, these just are like a culmination of things as to why the Olympics are overrated, in my opinion. Some people might disagree. Some people might agree. But at the end of the day, it's generally just falls on those three things: skill, financial capabilities, and corruption, in my opinion.
Yeah, for me, I think that honestly the Olympics are more of a personal goal for people. I think it's the thing that brings the Olympics so much more attention and more watching ability is because a lot of these people that are in the Olympics doing it for themselves. And that's what I love about the fucking Olympics, because you're watching people that train for fucking 4 years to make their lives and build it around just for an event. And that's the biggest culmination, in my opinion. Watching someone win a gold medal is the most happiest I've ever seen people ever win anything in their life. You don't see pure enjoyment in anything in life when they win a damn gold medal. When Usain Bolt wins gold medals, you don't see anybody with a bigger emotion than him. When you see other people in any sport work 4 years to win a gold medal, I think it's the craziest and the best feeling probably you can ever have in a sports world. Because guess what? You talked about basketball, right? You talked about how men's basketball you feel like is the biggest sports like Olympic.
Yeah.
You talk about all these NBA players. You know what's crazy to all of them? They all talk about how winning the damn Olympics is the biggest thing to them, and there's a reason why. It's the Olympics. It's the entire world. It's your entire country you're fighting for. That's the reason why I think it makes it more important.
That's
and
why
more
I bring
feeling.
the prideful aspect into it.
I think the prideful aspect over trumps all of that stuff because you're working 4 years to get to that level. For example, I think gymnastics and I think track and field are the biggest two Olympic sports, along with swimming. And these are three things that are completely watched all year, especially when it's Olympic time. I think they're the most watched shit ever, especially track and field. People are so excited to watch track and field every time the Olympics comes on because you get people from all over the world that can win races. And it's not just the Jamaicans, it's not just the Kenyans, it's people even from America that can even have a chance to win. Noah Lyles is one prime example that continues to talk about how the Olympics and his fucking field is not getting talked enough because you know the conversation. He's been having it forever.
Well, like I said, it kind of just relates to not like people. It hasn't really been watched in certain countries.
Right, and that's why I think in versus overrated, I think it's underrated. That's my opinion because I think the Olympics is starting to become underrated because of so much of the other sports having so much of a spectacle factor around them. Obviously, the NBA, the NFL, F1, they all have a spectacle factor around them because they're so like, obviously you see them a lot more, which obviously plays a lot of factors because the more you're getting the content, the more you're open to it, the more you're attracted to it, right? The Olympics are four times every year. Like that's the reason why. Think about it, if the Olympics were every year, I think the Olympics would probably draw the most numbers if it were played every single year because you're fighting against other countries. And at the end of the day, like you said, prideful countries, I would love to see. I think definitely countries like USA, Russia, China, they care about who has more gold medals.
Yeah.
And that plays a factor. I think that's something that a lot of countries definitely put money, like you said, for these people to want to benefit them, support them, and make sure they have all the money in the world to go win a gold medal for their country. So I'm putting more of an aspect on the solo people and all the people that work really hard to get to Olympics and get to win a gold medal or even a bronze. Like even winning a bronze medal
just getting
is
a medal,
crazy.
yeah.
And getting a medal, getting on the podium itself. That's why I think the Olympics I think it's starting to become underrated because a lot of people are not seeing it as much because it's every 4 years.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think the Winter Olympics obviously is not as big as the summer one, but you can just see it like it's the storylines I think that builds the Olympics more versus like the actual like spectacle of it because
I just need more sustenance from people to say we can go out, play the sports that we want to
But
play.
you know what's crazy? It's not the sports people covering it. It's more of the news media outlets that are covering it. And those are more bigger than honestly, that's bigger than the sports media versus the actual
But
world.
That's what it is, though.
That's what it's for.
Right.
But it's for the world. Right. And that's the thing, because it's certainly getting covered in the news media versus the actual sports niche media as itself. That's why it's like, all right, so like for example, talking about like figure skating. Figure skating is I think that's the biggest competition in the Winter Olympics, I think.
Yeah. Also skiing.
Exactly, and skiing itself. Those are two things that are talked about a lot. I've been seeing that a lot talked about in the last few weeks. So, I don't know. I think the Olympics can definitely get more exposure, but obviously it doesn't help with a lot of stars now retiring, which means new stars will come up. Because obviously Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, these are all big name stars that people wanted to see win. But with the thing with the Olympics, you always create new stars. Yeah. And I think this Olympics, you're definitely going to create some new stars.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to see the Olympics a lot more, get more exposure. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little underrated based on a lot of the other sports and how it's compared to a lot of them.
Right.
Like the Super Bowl and all the other big sports.
I know what you mean.
That's the only reason
I just feel like it just needs a little bit more recognition from people. And that's why I feel like it's overrated in the sense that it's not giving people the joy that it once did, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that comes from probably the lack of stars going away and retiring now.
That's true.
But you got to stay patient with it because guess what? Those stars weren't built over a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think definitely as more time goes on, especially with a lot more new, younger people coming on, you're going to see a lot more stars being built. This kid we're watching right now, this figure skater, I don't know if you heard about this 17-year-old. He's all over the goddamn news. No. He's doing backflips at 17 years old on damn ice. And no one sees it in their life before. Nah. So, in my opinion, this guy's more talked about than the damn Sam Darnold. If you really see the news, like everyone's talking about this.
That's because we just live in America. We don't experience the same exposure that, for example, like he's from France. You know what I'm saying?
So it's crazy to think about how, in the world itself, the Olympics are taken way more serious besides America because America has so many more niche sports. But in the world in general, the Olympics, the World Cup. Those are two things that the entire world looks forward to. So I think those two sports, they've been happening for forever, and I don't think they're going to go away ever.
No, I know.
So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. I think there's obviously more media marketing towards it now because obviously with social media starting to improve every year and there's new ways to market stuff, I could definitely see this year's FIFA being the most marketed ever this year.
It's here.
It's here. It's going to be everywhere. Yeah. And I think the Olympics, if it ever does come to America,
I think in 2028 it's in Los Angeles.
It's going to be even more marketed like crazy. So I definitely see the Olympics getting talked about a lot more in 2028.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of wraps up our Sideline Heel Takes for this week and our episode for this week. So pretty much on next week's episode, we're going to be talking about is NBA, obviously in our sports recap. We're going to talk about any other off-season moves that are happening in the sports world in general. And we're going to be talking about, obviously, the road on WWE Recap, our road to Elimination Chamber, and the build to WrestleMania. And then we're going to be debuting probably some new little topics and new things that we want to do on this show. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.